I'm Maya Chen, 19 years old, a lighting assistant at a commercial production studio in downtown Los Angeles. My job's not as fancy as it sounds. Long days adjusting spotlights, pulling cables, making sure every shot's perfect for those ads you skip on YouTube. But I love lighting, the way it can turn a dull scene into something that hits you right in the chest. Today, though, while I was checking equipment for a big multi-million-dollar project, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from some unknown number. It said, "Think you're safe in that studio, Maya? Check your email." I froze, my hand still on the spotlight's handle. The studio was loud. Directors yelling, cameras humming, the faint smell of burnt coffee from the machine in the corner. I opened the email, and my heart just dropped. There was a screenshot of my bank account, $12 left. Last week I got paid $827, enough for rent and a new lighting filter. Below the image, a message, "Your account's been hacked. Want your money back? Meet me at the coffee shop on the corner after your shift. Tell no one." Those studio lights were blazing hot above me, but I felt cold, like ice in my veins. I wanted to scream, to run out of there. But I'm Maya Chen. They call me the Rock because I don't lose my cool. So I shoved my phone back in my pocket, kept checking cables, and told myself, I'll deal with this after my shift. Looking back, I should have known something was wrong weeks ago. I'm not the type to panic, but things had been off. The studio's computer kept logging me out of my account, even when I hadn't touched it. One time, I caught Jake, this 25-year-old cameraman on our team, standing by my desk, staring at my monitor. I asked what he was doing, and he just grinned. Too wide, I see that now, and said, "Oh, wrong desk, Maya. I didn't think much of it then." Jake was always friendly, cracking jokes about me being the youngest but most serious in the crew. He even asked me to grab tacos after a shift once, but I said no. I don't like getting too close too fast. Then there were these weird emails. Password change confirmation from PayPal, Google Drive, accounts I barely use. I reset passwords, turned on two-factor authentication, but I still felt uneasy. One night, my phone pinged. An unknown device logged into your Google Drive from Nevada. I checked, saw no files missing or changed, and figured I was just being paranoid. Los Angeles can do that to you. Everything's so fast, so intense, it makes you question yourself. But standing there in the studio, that email staring back at me, I knew it wasn't random. Someone was coming for me, and they were good at hiding their tracks. I didn't go to that coffee shop like the text told me to. Instead, I went back to my little apartment in Echo Park. You can always smell the roasted coffee from the shop downstairs through my window. My place is small, just a bedroom, a wobbly desk, and a wooden board where I pin up lighting design ideas. I opened my laptop and checked my bank account. The money was gone through some payment app I'd used once for lighting gear. I saved everything, screenshots of the transaction, the email, the text. I pulled my Google Drive access logs and saw that same Nevada IP address again. I didn't call the cops right away. They'd just ask, "Got any real proof? Who did this?" And I didn't know yet. I had to figure out who was behind it and why they picked me. I started checking my coworkers' social media. Jake was always posting about these crazy trips. Yachts in Malibu, 5-star hotels in Vegas. How does a regular cameraman afford that? I remembered how he'd ask about my work. Stuff like, "How do you handle the studio's accounts? Tough passwords?" I thought he was just making conversation, but now it felt like a warning. I put a small monitoring program on the studio's computer, the kind techs use to catch system glitches. It tracked everything, logins, file downloads, all of it. I started writing down anything weird. Who stayed late, who hung around my desk, who asked odd questions. I kept it all in an encrypted file on my laptop, called it Studio Log so no one would suspect. 3 days later, that software gave me something. Someone tried getting into the studio's storage system, where we keep all our project data, raw footage, client contracts, everything. They used a hidden account, but the IP matched the one from my Google Drive. I checked the studio's security cameras, which I can access because lighting sometimes means reviewing shot angles. That night, Jake was the only one who stayed late. I started to think it was him, but I needed solid proof. So I played nice, bought him coffee, chatted about projects. One time he mentioned a friend in Nevada who helped him make extra cash online. My heart was pounding, but I just smiled and tucked that away. Then my Instagram got hacked. Someone posted these creepy photos of me working at the studio with captions like, "This girl thinks she's smart, but she's not." Fake accounts flooded the comments, tearing me down. One post even leaked my phone number, and I started getting dozens of harassing calls every day. My reputation, everything I'd built through unpaid internships and sleepless nights, was falling apart. That's when I realized this wasn't just about me. Our studio was working on a $5 million ad campaign for a huge fashion brand. If that data got out, or the project got wrecked, we'd lose the contract, and I'd be the first one they'd blame, a 19-year-old lighting assistant. I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for the whole studio. I kept digging. I called up an old friend, Sarah, a freelance journalist who's all about exposing tech scams. We met in high school during a photography class. She's 3 years older, with green-dyed hair, always in a leather jacket, chewing gum when she's thinking. I told her about the hack, and she was like, "Maya, this isn't small. Someone's playing dirty, and I bet it's tied to the studio." She told me to check the studio's internal emails for clues. I didn't have access, but I knew Emily, our manager, sometimes left her computer unlocked during meetings. One day, when she stepped out, I snuck into her office and scanned her emails. I found a chain between her and some hidden account, talking about data transfers and keeping Maya from suspecting. My stomach dropped. Emily, the one who always said I'd go far, who promised to make me lead lighting tech, was part of this? I saved those emails, took pictures, and got out before she came back. I didn't sleep that night. My brain stuck on one question. Why would Emily do this? What was she getting out of ruining me in the studio? A week later, I had what I needed. The monitoring software caught Jake accessing the system at night, downloading project files and sending them through an encrypted app. I found his emails in a hidden folder on the studio's computer, talking to a partner in Nevada about selling data to a third party. I saved it all to a USB, backed it up to a secure cloud only I could access. I got in touch with Sarah, and she hooked me up with a cybercrime lawyer named David Tran. He's this calm guy, about 50, with glasses and a voice that's soft but cuts like a knife. He looked at my evidence and said, "You've got a strong case, Maya. But be careful. These people aren't working alone." We sent everything to the LA police and told the studio's management. But not Emily, because I still didn't trust her. That night, I decided to face Jake. I waited until the studio was empty, just him and me in the break room. He was drinking a Red Bull, scrolling on his phone. I played a recording I'd saved, him admitting he'd borrowed my account to check some things from a talk we'd had. "Jake," I said, keeping my voice steady, "you thought I wouldn't figure it out? You hacked my account, stole my money, and sold studio data. You're done." He smirked, but his eyes were nervous. "You've got nothing, Maya. Who's gonna believe a 19-year-old kid like you? Security cameras, access logs, your emails. The police are on their way." He jumped up, lunged for my phone. I dodged and ran into the hallway where the studio manager, Robert, and 2 security guards were waiting. Jake was pinned down in seconds, his face white as the cops showed up and cuffed him. The police dug deeper and found out Jake wasn't alone. He was part of this international cybercrime ring, stealing data from LA studios to sell to rivals in Asia and Europe. Our ad campaign was targeted because it was for a global fashion brand, and competitors wanted to tank it to steal market share. The data they took wasn't just footage, it was marketing plans, product launches, client financials. But what hit me harder was learning Jake wasn't the one calling the shots. It was Emily. She'd used Jake like a pawn, playing on his greed to pull it off. Emily knew I was good at spotting details, so she came after me to keep me distracted. She'd told me once, "Maya, you're the future of this industry." But it was all a lie to keep me close, under her thumb. And Emily? She wasn't even in it for the money. She was being blackmailed. A rival company threatened to expose her for faking her degree to get the manager job. She chose to protect herself by betraying the studio, never thinking I'd catch on. During questioning, she said she'd tried to warn me, leaving an anonymous note on my desk that said, "Be careful what you store online." I remembered that note, but I'd tossed it, thinking it was nothing. The cops arrested Jake and Emily. The studio brought in a cybersecurity team to lock everything down, and we finished the ad campaign on time, thanks to the data I'd saved. The fashion brand gave me a $10,000 bonus, enough to move to a new apartment in Silver Lake, where I've got windows that look out on trees instead of smelling like coffee all the time. I bought a new stage lighting kit and a better laptop, ready for what's next. I left the studio not because I was scared, but because I wanted to follow my real dream: designing lighting for theater. I signed up for a short course at an LA art school and started freelancing. My reputation came back, especially after Sarah's article about the whole thing went viral. I even got a few job offers from small theaters. One day I got a letter from Emily, mailed from jail. She said she was sorry, that she never meant to hurt me, but the pressure made her choose wrong. I didn't write back, but I kept the letter. It's a reminder that even the people you trust can be hiding something. My story got around LA's production scene. Some people called me a hero. Others said I was reckless for taking on Jake like that. But what matters to me is that I didn't let fear win. I learned that light doesn't just make things beautiful, it can show the truth too. That moment when I faced Jake, I said something that got people talking. It was in Sarah's article, all over YouTube. You thought I wouldn't figure it out? You hacked my account, stole my money, and sold studio data. You're done. Some folks thought I was too bold, maybe even arrogant, for a 19-year-old to talk like that to someone like him. Others said it showed guts, that I wasn't backing down. I don't know. I just know I had to say it, had to let him know I wasn't invisible. Los Angeles is a wild place, full of dreams and sharp edges. Our studio, Bright Frame Media, was in Hollywood, surrounded by billboards and low buildings. Every morning, I'd walk through streets thick with car fumes and honking, holding a black coffee from a shop near my place. The studio was a 3-story building, white walls, logo shining at the entrance. Inside, it was all light and noise. Cameras buzzing, directors shouting, paint fumes from new sets. My lighting room was this small, neat corner. Spotlights lined up like soldiers, cables coiled tight, an old control panel I figured out my first week. I loved shaping light, making a dress pop in an ad or throwing shadows for drama. But the studio was intense. Everyone fighting to climb higher. One mistake and you're out. My apartment in Echo Park was where I went to breathe. It was tiny, a bed, a desk, a bookshelf crammed with lighting books. I kept the window open, letting in coffee smells and birdsong from the neighborhood. At night, I'd sit there, sketching lighting designs in a beat-up notebook, dreaming of Broadway. There were other people in my world, too. Lisa, this 30-year-old editor, always had headphones on, barely talked. She helped me fix a light once when I was new, but she kept to herself. Carlos, a sound tech from Mexico, loved sharing stories about his family in San Diego. He was the only one who noticed I was stressed after the hack, asking, "You okay, Maya?" Sarah, my journalist friend, was a big part of this. We met in a high school photography class. She's got green hair, wears a leather jacket no matter how hot it is, and chews gum when she's thinking. She's got this gift for finding secrets. When I told her what was happening, she didn't hesitate, just said, "Maya, this is big. We're gonna figure it out." Then there was David Tran, the lawyer, quiet guy, about 50, with glasses and a voice that's gentle but firm. He'd worked cybercrime cases for big companies and told me, "You're young, but you're smart. We'll get them." Things didn't always go smooth. One night, when I was checking security footage, I got locked out of the control room. Someone changed the code. I had to wait till morning, act like I forgot it, to get the guard to let me in. It made me wonder how many people at the studio were in on it. The harassment got worse, too. My LinkedIn got hacked, with fake posts saying I was selling studio data. I had to shut it down, but the rumors spread. A client I'd worked with emailed asking, "Is it true you're tied to a data leak?" I answered politely, but it hurt. I even followed Jake one night, saw him at a bar in downtown LA, meeting some guy in a suit. I took a photo from across the street, sent it to Sarah. She found out the guy worked for a rival company. It wasn't enough for court, but it kept me going. Through it all, I kept asking myself why I didn't just walk away. I'm just a lighting assistant, not some detective. But quitting would have meant losing everything. Those nights studying lighting, getting rejected for being too young, the look in my parents' eyes when I got this job. I couldn't let someone take that from me. Los Angeles is a city that lifts you up and knocks you down. You've got to be tough, stand on your own, but you learn that justice doesn't just happen. You have to fight for it. And I wanted to show that a 19-year-old lighting assistant could do that, could hold her ground and come out stronger.